X Arcadia has its first full-blown 100% exclusive in Dynamite Bomb, so let's get into what that's all about.
Arcade Heroes.
So this is Adam with ArcadeHeroes.com. Welcome to the place for arcade news, new game arcade news, not emulator news. And so I've covered the X Arcadia many times before, and this is the latest title to go up for pre-order, which you can find if you go to exa.ac and their shop, where you will see that Dynamite Bomb is now available for pre-order among some other games. There's the new Batsugan Exa label, Donut Dodo Do, and Shinorubi Pink label, which are also up for pre-order, joining the growing list of games that have been launched for the system. Now, what's significant about Dynamite Bomb, as I've covered before on my channel, if you want to see some earlier video of this, then just type in Dynamite Bomb on my channel search page. You'll be able to pull that up. Is that amongst the different games on the system, and this has been a criticism from the X Arcadia haters that are out there, that everything's a port in one way or another. Now, the most extreme argument I've seen is claimed that it's nothing but Steam ports, which is inaccurate. There are some of these games which are not available on Steam. They're available on other platforms, such as Aka and Blue Type R was only available on mobile, and the arcade version is vastly superior to that, where it's not really fair to call them the same game, as well as some of the NES ports like Gimmick Exact Mix and Kara Star Knight and Astro Ninja Man Exa. These all only exist otherwise on the NES, and they were homebrews, and again modified for the X Arcadia, improved, remastered. If Gimmick was available in this form on Steam or the Nintendo Switch eShop, then nobody would be begging for a port all the time on the videos that I've done about Gimmick. But regardless, I mean, I've talked a lot with the people at X Arcadia, and I've always gotten the sense that they know that content is king. Now, why is it that they focus so much on doing these ports? Well, to do an arcade company like they do, doing exclusive original content is pretty difficult. It's very expensive. It's also a big risk because you just don't know if anybody's going to buy into it. Whereas when you have something like, say, Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect, there's already a built-in audience for it there. Same thing with some of the other things. Granted, some of these come from the indie arcade space and may not have a huge fan base, but it'd have more than one, I guess, as well as like Chaos Code. That's pretty well known in Japan, and Super Battle Princess Madeline. I know that seemed to do pretty well on the market, but regardless, it's less expensive and less risky to launch a platform that's going to contain a bunch of games on it for arcades that is working on existing content. Now, the thing that I've pointed out pretty much every time that I talk about the X Arcadia is that they do improve the games. So one of the things that Exa really focuses on is bringing the input lag down, and so there's just no comparison with the input lag on, say, like if you play Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect on the Switch through the Samurai Showdown collection and you play the arcade version is much better on the input lag. And so this is one of those instances where the game content isn't really that much different from the console version. But then there are other ones where it is, like P47 Aces Mark II. Now, this one does not exist on Steam, or like the original arcade version, I think might be on Arcade Archives, or at least just P47. Not sure if Aces does, but Exa went and changed a lot about this, added a lot more to it, has more game modes and such to make it a much better game. And so it's almost like it's not really accurate to say that you could get even close to the same experience on a console or through an emulator playing that one. But anyways, let's get into Dynamite Bomb, which is the first full-blown 100% made from scratch exclusive for the X Arcadia platform, and thus 100% exclusive to arcades. And as the description here says, from some of the minds behind Dragon Ball Fighter Z comes an all-new 2D anime fighter. Dynamite Bomb fuses frantic chain combos and over-the-top offensive options with numerous defensive techniques like reversals and tech recoveries to make an excited, fast-paced fighter. Choose from 10 different superpowered residents of Inaho City and experience individual storylines in the single-player mode. Every character interacts with each other in well-animated, beautifully detailed 2D pixel art and are fully voiced throughout the match. Challenge opponents and fight it out with X Arcadia's maximum performance sub-1 frame response times. You'll never miss a combo now. Prepare to explode with Dynamite Bomb only in arcades. And so, yeah, as it shows on the page as well as on the videos that I've shot, 10 characters, and it keeps the action in a 4:3 aspect ratio screen. When it's on a 16:9 widescreen, the sides are filled up with character art, just like they had done in their other fighters like Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect. But one of the most impressive aspects of this, as we see right here, is the 0.5 frame input lag response, which, as they say here, is the fastest benchmark in the game industry. Now, of course, I don't have the game with me. I don't have the setup to verify that or not, but I've not heard from anybody that X's claims of this super low input lag are wrong, and don't have any reason to mistrust them on that. And so that's extremely fast. I've never heard of something like that outside of like CRT things. But even then, with a CRT monitor, the hardware itself, like on old JAMA boards, could sometimes introduce some input lag if that's something that the developer wasn't really focused on. And a lot of the time they haven't been. Otherwise, you have, as it mentions, deep fighting game design. This is deep enough where about 2 months ago, as you can see here on X Arcadia's YouTube channel, they posted several kind of tutorial videos on Dynamite Bomb. Unfortunately, they're all in Japanese, and none of them are in English at this point, but hopefully they'll add some English ones here soon. But these would show how a lot of the techniques and such operate. So, curious to hear from fighting game fans what they would think of a game that has this focus on chain combos, tech recoveries, parrying, reversals, all that stuff. I know that with games like Street Fighter 3, that's usually a big thing. Obviously for casuals, that just goes way over their head. Everything. Another interesting aspect of this, if we go down here to the screenshots, like you can see a lot of these, and here's where it talks, where what I mentioned with the character side art there, is that for the most part this was designed for a horizontal oriented or landscape mode, but because there are some X Arcadia systems out there that were set up for shoot 'em ups on a Tate type screen or vertically oriented screen, they have this option to run the game in portrait mode, which is, again, very interesting. I've never seen a fighter work quite like this. Granted, I'm not into mobile gaming pretty much at all, so maybe there is a fighter out there that does something like this, but at least I've never seen it before. Certainly in the arcade space, this has never happened, so this would be a first in that regard. Of course, if I was to grab this game, I haven't decided if I will or not yet. I would set it up in the traditional horizontal landscape mode. But I guess for me to decide whether or not I would grab it would depend on my customers, or I might end up selling something else like Chaos Code. I mean, I don't really want to, but in some regards I could see where this is similar to Chaos Code. At least the graphics look somewhat similar, although a lot of the special effects in this are really, really good. And I mean, it's obviously all animated or hand-drawn 2D animated stuff, but some of the special effects, especially like when the wind, the spherical wind effects happen, those are really cool to see on screen. And I'm not sure what resolution most X Arcadia setups run out there on mine. Both mine are 4K TVs, and so that's what I operate mine at. So here's what you would get. So for the current price of $1,553, which is for the kit, this is what you would get. You would get this A1 size poster, and you would get the character move sets there. You have these more detailed control sort of mini manuals that could be posted near the game, and then there's a manual itself mainly for the operator, and then the box with the game cartridge. And it also does support 4x3 SD CRTs, so there are still some candy cabs over in Japan that would use that somebody might want to set up an X Arcadia on. Personally, for US customers, I wouldn't do that. I would just put it into something that's 1080p or 4K at least. But yeah, as I had also mentioned this on the pricing for this one, it's actually a little bit lower than your other standard fighting game kits. It looks like it's the same price as Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect for the standard kit, not the limited edition, of course. But then if you look at Chaos Code, Fight of Gods, and Kung Fu vs. Karate Champ, those are all $15.75, and this is the price, $15.53. So save a few bucks if you go with Dynamite Bomb instead of one of those other ones. But yeah, what do you think about this new 100% arcade exclusive release coming to arcades? Another thing worth mentioning is that the next game that should be launching is Axel City 2, or launching soon. Of course, now it's July, and Axel City 2 will be finally launching in August of 2023. This is another one that will be 100% exclusive to the X Arcadia, and it has a much larger fighting roster, 4 times as large, so it has 40 characters instead of 10. Obviously it's a sequel, but it's a sequel to a pretty obscure fighting game that I think you can only find on like Windows XP or Windows 2000 or something like that. And so I've had a lot of people interested in it, though, and so it seems to have a cult following behind it. No, I haven't heard any updates on the Fallen Angels. Hopefully once Dynamite Bomb and Axel City 2 and Arcana Heart 3 and let's see, Demon Bride X again are all out of the way, then that's when they'll get to Fallen Angels. What I've heard about this one, as far as the reason for the delay on it, is that like you can kind of see from here the animations, there's like 900 frames of animation per character, and they have to not only redo that as a remaster, but they also have to do it for 4K, and so it's very, very time consuming and intensive to redo all these things for this particular obscure fighting game. But hopefully that will come out this year, but given that it's TBD and they also have all these other fighters on their plate, I wouldn't be surprised if that's more 2024. But yeah, that is Dynamite Bomb, again, a new arcade exclusive game for the X Arcadia, and soon joined by Axel City 2. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next video.